well. Right. So we will talk about sustainable goals and AI. First, we will see the goals, and then we will see the AI applications and ICT together applications to sustainability goals. We will discuss how AI and ICT can improve sustainability goals, and we will have some measurements too about correlations of companies, valuations, and SDG goals. So we have several things to do today. Let's first discuss about MDGs and SDGs. MDGs is actually the Millennium Development Goals, and SDGs are the newer Sustainability Development Goals. So the MDGs, it's actually a part of SDGs. There is a cross-section between them. So you can see 8 goals. It's poverty and hunger, education, gender equality and the power of women, child mortality or children mortality in general, maternal health, AIDS and HIV. At that period, during 2000 and up to 2010, HIV and AIDS was a major issue, but nowadays is not. But in general diseases, to combat diseases. Also to ensure sustainability in environment and partnership and peace and development for all. Here you can see the sustainable goals. They are 17 goals. We have again poverty and hunger, health, to combat diseases, etc. You understand? To have quality education and equitable quality education, to empower women and gender equality, of course, availability and sanity of water, also affordable, sustainable energy for all. You see the expansion of the goals. To have growth and but with employees that are happy in general. So we have fairness and empowerment of employees, resilient infrastructure, sustainable in general infrastructures, even ICT infrastructures, gendering also, apart from equality about human, we have equality about nations. This seems a dream, but never mind. Also, we have cities, sustainable cities. This means also smart cities, sustainable consumption and production, urgent in general changes in order to combat climate changes, and peace, also protection of ecosystems, and also global partnership, as also in the MDG goals. You can see also the development, how complex was the development of this, and the consensus, of course, about MDGs and SDGs. The agreement arrived at 2015 for the Millennium Development Goals, and the Sustainable Development Goals were a bit after, during 2020. So all these are things that are very recent, and you can see also the change in the goals from 8 goals that we presented and 21 targets and 60 indicators. If I have time, we will see some things about indicators. But you see in arithmetics, during 2015 consensus about MDGs, we have only 8 goals and 21 targets, etc. And in the SDGs, the global sustainability development goals, we have 17 goals, the ones that we presented, 169 targets, and 304 indicators. So in 5 years, let's say time, from MDGs to SDGs, we understood that we need a more global approach to sustainability, and this means this change of goals, targets, and indicators. The comparison, a very short comparison of very basic goals, is in MDGs we have traditional only assistance, but here we need in SDGs traditional plus universal goals, limited, more comprehensive, and more expanded. Top-down, inclusive goal setting. In all indicators and targets, the goals are inherent. Traditional statistics, yes, but also data revolution because of ICT revolution and now AI revolution. So the presentation afterwards will include the data revolution because this is, as you understand, this is the principal application of AI, how to harness data revolution. It's not only some statistics as for MDGs, but you remember 2015 is far away. It's 10 years ago, and at that period, we didn't have the computing power and the big data. Big data came afterwards. In order to say the things with their name, you remember that up to 2015-16, NVIDIA, if you have seen the charts, NVIDIA, which is the company, of course, that produces AI chips, the powerful AI training for deep learning, etc., AI systems. At that period, NVIDIA was half of the price of Intel. Now, NVIDIA surpasses a lot. It's 10 times Intel, almost 10 times Intel. You understand what happens in the last 10 years, a real revolution. Also, to continue, hunger and poverty together was the issue in MDGs. Now we have hunger alone and poverty alone. So we don't want only to harness hunger, but also we need not to have poverty in the world. This is the goal, of course. Quantity education was the issue in MDGs. Now, especially with AI, quality education, not only because of ICTs, but also about a very good application of AI in education. Because I don't have a lot of time, of course, to discuss all these issues, but about quality education, I could tell you, and you feel it, that now you have a teacher at your head. All these GPTs, the generative AI tools, the generative pre-trained transformers, like ChatGPT, like Gemini, and many other tools, even open source tools nowadays, you can have your own teacher for the basic things. Personalized even training, it's possible. So quality education is now a possibility. You have the teachers and supervisors to supervise the system, to solve problems that a ChatGPT or a general transformers cannot solve and cannot explain in detail, because, okay, we cannot afford only the automation systems to do everything. We should supervise, and they are not for everything. For deep explanations are not capable. You should understand these things. Also, funding. Here, in SDGs, funding becomes broader. So we have a broader set of financial sources. Some relations with ICTs, because sustainable development goals and ICT are closely related. So, what are the main issues here, as you can see that I have outlined? By 2030, we need equality of men and women in terms of new technology accessibility. So all basic services, including all new technology issues, but also financial services and microfinance, to ensure that all men and women, and especially the poor and vulnerable, they have access. By 2030, to ensure equal access for all women and men for quality technical education, vocational training, tertiary education, including university. Okay, equal access, this doesn't mean, and we cannot say that everyone will be in the university, but at least to have access all over the world, men and women in the university, equal access. By 2030 also, to increase all digital skills, to increase youth and adults' skills, and also AI skills. In AI skills, otherwise it will be different. It will be very difficult to follow this revolution, the humans. By 2020, it was planned, and let's see if this was achieved, to have in all states and in all continents, including Africa, enrollment in higher education for information and communication technologies, technical engineering, and scientific programs in all countries. This seems it happens more or less. I think less, but it happens. To enhance also the use of enabled technology, in particular information and communication technologies, okay? Develop quality, reliable, sustainable, and resilient infrastructure. This is a goal. It's a target. We don't have resilient infrastructures everywhere. And you can see that what happens, that our infrastructures, ICT infrastructures, have failure problems, a lot of failure problems. Because of hacking, because of attacks, cyber attacks. In general, we have and we experience every, let's say, 6 months, we have a serious, even global problem in the world. You remember Microsoft. You remember, it was very recent. You remember Facebook. You remember other social media that experience failures every 3 or 6 months. So it's a goal, a target not yet achieved. To enhance also scientific research and upgrade technological capabilities. This is obvious. This happens now because of AI revolution. Also, to increase access to information and communication technology, this has already increased. Innovation, science innovation, and entrepreneurship is critical for sustainability. We have understood this. To promote the development, transfer, dissemination, and diffusion of environmentally sound technologies. We have environmental technologies, and we see some changes, but you see that climate change is more dramatic than the increase of such technologies. We need more entrepreneurship in environmental technologies. So we see that ICT is related very closely with SDGs and MDGs, but especially with SDGs. So in order to conclude this part, we have the proportion of schools with access to internet, UIS. This is an indicator. All these are indicators, critical indicators for ICT and SDG. So the proportion of schools with access to internet, I think, for instance, in Greece and in Europe, because I know Europe very well, and I'm sure about the USA and Americans, they have access, all schools have access to internet. I know cases, for instance, in Uganda, because we try there with a non-government NGO, non-government organization, NGO. I know that certain areas in Uganda, they don't have access. They want, however, to build hubs, ICT hubs everywhere in Africa, but we are a bit in lack of this. A proportion of schools with access to computers for pedagogical purposes. This is another indicator, and this indicator is universal, of course. We know that for pedagogical purposes, proper programs, etc., they do not exist everywhere. In Europe, we have certain software, but not full access from all. We have, for instance, boards that are dealing with pedagogic, it's sensitive boards with touch screens in order to see maps for geography, in order to have access to pedagogical programs. So such things do not exist to all schools, but computers are here. Also, the proportion of youth and adults with ICT skills, ITU, this is a major issue. Nowadays, we are in lack of a good proportion everywhere. Digital skills is a demand for any kind of sustainability, and we have problem in this. I can tell you that we cannot find skillful persons even in Europe. Germany, for instance, wants more than 1.5 million for ICT skillful persons for industry, organization, etc. In Greece, it's the same. Also, the proportion of individuals with a mobile telephone, I think this target has been achieved everywhere in the world. The percentage of population covered by a mobile network and mobile technology, this happens for older generations of mobile telephones, not for 5G. It's for 3G, not even for 4G. 3G technology and 2.5G and 3G exists almost everywhere in the world, except special cases like in mountains, etc. Fixed internet broadband, no. With very good speed, no. We have problems in this. This is another indicator, main indicator. Also, the proportion of individuals with using internet through mobile phones, everyone, almost everyone, but the older people do not have the skills for this. So you can see the major, and I conclude with this session, you can see all major ICT applications like e-government, e-business, e-learning, e-health, e-employment, environment, agriculture, science, etc., etc., etc. And all these are connected, as you can see easily, with the indicators, ITU, UIS, etc., that I described previously. So all ICT now applications are connected with SDGs and SDGs indicators. And SDGs, of course, organizations. You can see United Nations here, you can see UNESCO, etc., etc., World Health Organization. E-health is connected, of course, to WHO. And you can see also the matrix of indicators and SDG goals. These, of course, are related to AI and ICT. You can see here all the relations in this matrix. For instance, poverty, because it's SDG 1, is connected with C1, C5. You can see with e-business, you can see with e-health, with e-agriculture, e-science, and several others. So we have interconnections of ICT and AI with sustainable development goals. This is a very important issue, of course. Also, there are regional initiatives, especially now targeted to Asia Pacific and African also countries. I will skip some of these adoption indications in order to go to a major part of this talk, and this is about big data and AI-driven approaches for SDG. Not only the applications, but to see some of the issues of how AI can have these capabilities towards SDG. So, big data and AI, this is the issue. And what we see here is we have several sources of data, like from individuals, through social networks, maybe, but also through interrogation, through interviews, etc. Business processes, you can see here individuals, how we can get individual data from social media, from news, from web services, and also from interviews, not only in the internet, but from reports, of course, in the internet. Business process, transaction, corporate data, governance data, all these are in internet. And sensors. We have satellites, geolocation sensors, and many other complex sensor networks. So big data and big data sources is a major issue. And of course, in order to process these issues, these are connected to all goals. For instance, I want to say equality, gender equality. From the sentiment analysis in social media, you can check equality of genders. No, but you can see the complaints for everything. In social media, you can read the complaints of women, of men, of children, of whatever. However, so SDG transformation goal towards gender equality and all the others. This was gender equality was an example only. But if you check every one of these SDG 17 SDG targets, you can see that processing of this data can reveal where we are. So this is the major application of AI, to see progress in SDG goals. And through data, big data, we can see certainly this progress. For environment, of course, the sensors. The sensors even for the sanitation of water. Satellites to see water if it exists or not in certain areas, to see dryness, everything. So AI processing can reveal the progress and can reveal the current status in the world, even at daytime, even in daily progress, even monthly progress, yearly, whatever you want. Through AI analysis of this big data, we can have a clear view of where we are going to. So this is, of course, the major applications of AI in sustainability and sustainable world, to measure progress, to see what is the reality, and moreover, to predict. So predictive analytics for the reality. What we should expect with these policies. Without AI, we are blind, because no one can process such petabytes of information. You understand? This is the major application. You can see also the features of data. For instance, and you can see in terms of kinds of data. For instance, data veracity is a feature of data. And you can see that the most clear data are the biased data. Noise is actually data that cannot be used. The bias can be used, but we have bias, don't forget. Data volume, you can see petabytes, terabytes, gigabytes, megabytes. So you can see these diagrams show categories of data and features of data. Data velocity, of course, real-time, near real-time, periodic batch of data, you can see here in data velocity. Don't forget, we need all kinds of data, all kinds of data. Data variety, we have Google, social networks, whatever. So you understand, data is a very complex entity in general, and is comprised of many, many kinds and types. And machine learning, what kind of machine learning and data analysis is needed in order to see this application, this major application of AI, which is harnessing the data? I will not say about personalized learning, etc., which are major applications of AI, but I want to discuss about the major one, which is harnessing the data in order to see and in order to predict the world in next day, in next month. This can be done through predictive analytics. And these are the tools: supervised learning, regression, and classification. By regression, we build regression models. For finance, for whatever, even for the environment, we can build regression models about which are the variables that have the major correlation with environmental, even disaster. What kind of variables can lead to disaster, to improvement of the environmental conditions, etc. Classification, we know good or bad, for instance. Clustering, it's another big tool or set of tools, I would say, about grouping data in certain groups. For instance, to group people according to financial to their financial data. This is an easy clustering problem, of course. Factor analysis, to understand which of the features and characteristics are the ones that play the major role in a phenomenon. Time series, this is predictive analytics. So unsupervised is clustering and factor analysis. Deep learning is connected with predictive analytics and unstructured data processing. What is unstructured data processing? Sentiment analysis, for instance, and NLP, natural language process analysis. This is very important thing in order to get opinions of people and measure opinions of people. Other approaches that are now used also in GPTs, reinforcement learning. It's a big thing nowadays. Also, we have semi-supervised learning, active learning, etc. So these are the major technologies of machine and deep learning and artificial intelligence that are used for the analysis of the data, for harnessing data. For natural language analysis, you can see here I have prepared the major things and the major technologies. I will not explain, but only in brief. So we have data input processing and cleaning of data technologies. You can see that the data come from all over the internet, governmental websites, NGO reports, etc. We have data preparation with certain technologies like word limanization, tokenization, etc., to prepare the words, modeling with time frequency and inverse frequency, vector databases in word vectors, n-gram models, many words together, etc. And level 3, we have sentiment analysis and sentiment index, word cloud, keyword network, etc., text summarization. These are one step before starting to prepare the outputs of GPT. NLP plays a major role in nowadays revolution of AI. So these are the major technologies. But because my time has passed, I will skip several things. And what I want is to share with you some measurements coming from several organizations about the compliance of United Nations and ISAR, a different organization, core indicators, and compliance with sustainability. So what you see in this graph is mentions the orange is mentions with indicators, so the people mentioning, but with indicators. Without indicators, the black, and the blue, no mentions. You can see easily that about revenue and the value added, these are the first things, you see that there is close connection, companies and indicators, people and indicators about sustainability. So basic financial things, net value added, etc., all these are connected truly with indicators. What is not connected? You can see water stress. Now, there is an issue. You understand, about water, we are behind all plans. We are in the beginning of water sanity, water inspection, and so on. Also, training on anti-corruption issues. You can see, is I don't want to say this, but it's true. We live in a corrupted world. Can you see this? Can you see this? We don't have many mentions about corruption. So it's like having corruption not connected correctly to SDGs. And you can see also in the high SDGs indicators, you can see here. The high SDG indicators are in Americans, in Asia, you can see here, India, China, Russia there, all Europe, and you see Africa. You see also some Asian countries. We are all right. We are in certain cases that we are behind, let's say, our schedules. Now, the entirety, the SDG footprint and the mapping of this footprint is for every company, is connected to environment, to society, to supply chain, to subsidiaries organizations, and to the public sector. So in order to measure, we have a company, in order to measure its SDG footprint, you can see the entirety network mapping of a company and SDGs sectors. So when we have a company, we should think about these footprints related to SDG. I will go not to all this data, but I will go here and I will conclude with this, because this is a major finding of research. I was based on several data all over the world for this footprint here. What you see here, the blue line is high SDG scores. So companies with high SDG scores, they are according to SDG goals. Their indicators are high. You can see here low SDG indicator companies. So the companies have not a good SDG footprint. And what they are compared for what? For earnings. What you see here is very, very important. You can see that companies with high SDG indicators have better earnings than the others. But you should remember, of course, when we see indicators about environment, about civil society, about supply chain, about all their subsidiary organizations and the public sector, the company that has strong correlations and strong indicators regarding these entities, it seems they have much better earnings in almost all cases. So better earnings is lower here. These have worse earnings. So it's a demand. It's a demand now for companies and their valuation to reach high SDG scores. And how this can be done? Because a company is a complex organization. How this can be done? In the past, you had personnel, for instance, to take some interviews. We didn't have data. Nowadays, We can measure the impact every day of a company. So AI systems can evaluate any company in the world through data analysis. So data analytics provide the real correlations of companies and SDG scores. And based on this, you improve SDG footprint of the company, you improve your earnings. This is a very basic finding. So through AI, we can change the world because now the world knows, can measure things, can analyze and can predict things. And therefore, it's obvious that we can change the world at large. Thank you very much. With this, I finish because I'm already speaking 50 minutes, so I don't want to exploit more your patience. With this, I finish this talk, this about AI and sustainability, AI and sustainable development goals